Hey, what's up? It's Nikula Daz here. Thank you so much for pressing play. So, like most people in the world, it's coffee culture, right? Little Starbucks, Tim Hortons if you live in Canada, or whatever coffee shops you have, and other stimulants. In fact, stimulants have become so normal in society, we don't even consider them drugs. People don't realize that when they're taking caffeine, they're actually taking a drug. And when it comes to guys wanting to practice semen retention, yes, it is detrimental to your semen retention, and in this video, I'm going to explain why. Before we get into it though, I do invite you to press subscribe or hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified. I got 2 new videos coming for you every single week to keep you inspired, to keep you uplifted, and to keep your semen in your body. That sounds so weird, I know. Also, make sure that you check out the links in the description, the free ejaculation control guide. It's a free program that you can take, and there's always cool stuff on my website that you can check out. So go ahead and check it out. Let's get into the video. All right, let me take a sip of my coffee here. No, I'm just joking, it's just water. This question actually came from one of the viewers, and I really appreciate viewer questions. So if you've got a question yourself, something that you'd like me to address, maybe something that you're either struggling with or want to go deeper into, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I do my best to read the comments and to answer the comments as my schedule allows. Let's talk a little bit about caffeine. This question was specifically, can you talk about semen retention and caffeine? Is it beneficial? Is it detrimental? First of all, any stimulant is detrimental. Nobody likes to hear that because we all like these little attachments that we have. Oh, I like my coffee in the morning. I like my Coca-Cola. I like my this, my like that. But the reality is that the more that you stimulate your nervous system and your body becomes stimulated, the harder it is to retain your semen, simply because as your nervous system is more stimulated, the more your impressions on the mind, your sexual impressions, will begin to flare up, right? For example, if you are stimulating, like what is sex ultimately other than a stimulation of the nervous system? Right? The penis has, I think, about 4,000 nerve endings. The clitoris actually has double that. So whether male or female, the reality is that sex from a conceptual, not from having sex because you're going to have a baby, sex for sex enjoyment is all about stimulating that nervous system, which gives you some bodily pleasure. When you're trying to retain your semen, you want to cool yourself down. The reason why is the more that you're stimulated, the more all of that sex impression, all of the porn you've watched, all of the sex you've had in the past, the fantasies that you've, went off to, all of that's going to flare up. Right? In yoga, we call that samskara, the impressions on the mind. When you stimulate yourself, all of these impressions of the mind, they're going to become active, and it's harder not to dwell upon sex or meditate on sex. The more you meditate on sex, the more you go where the mind goes. So if the mind is on sex, then eventually you're going to want to act upon that desire, which is going to be harder and harder to retain your semen. Now, the other reason that you want to avoid caffeine and other stimulants is because it also heats your body up. There are 3 modes of material nature: the tamas gun, which means ignorance, rajas, which means passion, and sattvic, which means mode of goodness. Stimulants like caffeine are in the rajas mode. They're in the passionate mode. They're aphrodisiacs. Chocolate, garlic, onions, these type of foods, and especially caffeine, is meant to be in the rajas mode. So I learned this when myself and my wife, we went to Mexico, and we learned a little bit about the the Mayan people. And they used to suck on a caffeine bean for energy. So in the proper context, something like caffeine could be used in the proper context. But you see, they weren't taking caffeine for just enjoyment, the way that we drink a Starbucks coffee that's hopped up on sugar and all processed to the max. No. We're doing it strictly for our own sense enjoyment, or because we might feel a little, hankering. And we're hankering because we have an addictive or an attachment to it. So the idea here is that the more that you feed this attachment. And the more that you feed your body foods that are in the Rajas Gun or in the mode of passion that stimulate you, the more it's going to be difficult to retain your semen. So the short answer is caffeine detrimental to semen retention? The answer is yes. Now, if you're someone who's drinking a cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee or 3 cups of, I work with some people, by the time we hit 10 a.m., they're already onto their second or third large, double, triple, mocha, choca, loca, whatever.
Know what could really help you sort through these important issues?
What? Orange mocha frappuccino!
Right? And of course, they're all hopped up. You know, you could tell they're all walking around like, and you could tell they're probably ignorant to it. They can't even tell how hopped up they are. And if you try to take coffee away from them, they freak out because they know it's the only way they can stay energized. But remember, God gave you enough energy for your life. He didn't supply you with a body and said, here, I'm going to make it deficient. So this idea that we have in modern society that we're deficient is because we're not taking in enough nutrients. We're not eating good foods. We're not living a good lifestyle. So we make up for it by caffeine and other stimulants, Red Bull and Monster and all these type of drinks. We want to eliminate those completely. Now, if you're someone who is drinking these 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, all right, you're at where you're at. Accept it. All good. What you want to do is start to wean yourself off of it. And one of the best ways you can wean yourself off of it is what's in this cup. Not coffee, water. I know, boring, right? Nobody wants to drink water anymore because of all of our taste buds have been dulled by all the stimulants. But water actually cools your system, calms your nervous system. It clears you out. So rather than drinking a cup of coffee, drink water. If you're going to have a cup of coffee and you're unable to give up that attachment or that addiction, then at least supplement it with lots of water. Have a cup of water, have your coffee or whatever, your mocha choca loca, and then have some more water. The more water that you consume, the easier it will be to clear that addiction off and be able to free yourself of caffeine, other addictive stimulants, which will help you retain your semen and subdue or at least be able to put at rest or not be controlled by all your sexual impulses and urges. I hope this helped you. Please leave questions below, leave comments. Let me know how you're doing on your journey. Again, visit my website, nakuladas.com. Take the free ejaculation control guide where myself and my partner, Jonathan White of Sexual Kung Fu, we started the Spiritual Bad Boys community, which is specifically designed to help guys in relationships, guys who are still sexually active, retain their semen. So please check it out. It will help you on your journey. I'll see you in the next video.